So your title page should say Alaska and the Iditarod Notes. If you haven't gotten that on there already, that's what you need to be. Okay, so today we are going to be, and tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the Iditarod history, where it came from, how did they start this race, and so on. So there's the reading that I gave you. And like I said, we're going to break it up in chunks today as we're reading it, stop and talk about it. So I want you to read the first two paragraphs. They're very short and sweet. This is your writing or reading. You can write on it. You can underline things. You can highlight it. Things you think are important, so that when we're asking questions, you're able to discuss a little easier. So if you want to do that, feel free. So read the first two paragraphs, and then we'll discuss together. Okay, to transport the gold, maybe from towns to towns, or getting things to these different gold towns, was easy during the month. What months was it the easiest to be able to transport things like the gold, Dalton? October, that wasn't the easiest. That was the toughest. Joey?
Summer months?
Summer. And how were they transporting things in the summer months? Harmon? Not in the summer, no. Natalie?
Steamboats.
Steamboats. So the towns were able to be served by steamboats in the summertime. All right? So they would be either by the rivers. Nome was on the coast, and that had a steamship. Steamships are different. Steamboats are the river. Steamships are the ocean. So Nome was on the coast, and they were able to get steamships services, and on the towns on the river were able to get services by the steamboats. Well, winters were quite long winters are really long, but the time when things would freeze up completely was the time from like October through May, where everything was completely frozen. Rivers frozen, the coast was frozen, so you couldn't get around. So in the winter time, virtually there was no way to travel or get anything to these different places because the water was frozen up and the ocean traffic stopped, the river traffic stopped, all from October to May. All right, so they had to figure out a way to be able to do this, because by the year 1910, what was starting to become a year-round, because at first it was like, okay, no big deal, but in 1910 they needed what? What was necessary to happen all the time? Year-round, Brock?
Year-round mail.
They needed the year-round mail. It was necessary. People were working year-round in the mines. The miners needed food, supplies, their mail. So by 1910, it was necessary that they get things year-round. And, well, since things were frozen up, couldn't get them by the steamships. So what did the government decide was probably a good idea to do? What did the government do then, Natalie?
They constructed a winter trail from Seward to Nome.
Good. They built a trail for dog sled teams. Here would be your steamship, and what it would look like. You can see this would be what the gold would come down on, put it in their steamship, move it from town to town. So then the government built this trail that would go from Seward to Nome, and it would be used by dog sled teams. And the dog sled teams could take mail, food, supplies, anything that was necessary to these different towns and along the way. All right, so this trail, okay, I want you to take a look, and they called it in the original Iditarod Trail. I want you to take a look from reading the original Iditarod Trail all the way down, stop when you get to the typical traveler paragraph. So you're basically reading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. Read about the trail and the different places it stopped through, and we'll talk about that, so it'll give you a little bit of time. Alright, so the original Iditarod Trail. So where did the original trail start? What was the town called that it started in? Jimmy? It was started in Seward, which is kind of south of what will eventually become Anchorage. Anchorage wasn't founded at the time of this trail started. Anchorage wasn't founded until 1915. And then Anchorage will become the largest city in Alaska. But at the time, Knik was the largest town there, or around that inlet. Okay, so it started in Seward, and where did it end? Where were they be going to? What was one of the big gold rush towns along the way? Shane? It ends where it ends today.
Track. On the end of the trail.
All right, Harmon.
No.
It ends in Nome, and it was about 1,150 miles. So here is Seward, right here, down here, okay? And this is the original trail. Follow my blue line. Ended in Nome. That was the original trail. Along the way were these towns, and as you read, you probably recognized some of the names of the towns that are checkpoints of today's Iditarod race. They would stop in these towns, they'd drop off things, pick up things, stay there for the night, have a good meal, have a meal for their dogs. Some of the areas that they traveled were a lot more difficult than others, especially in this area right here. This is very tough because if you notice, they're crossing the ocean, meaning it's frozen over, but they're crossing over it. And that's a very difficult spot that they would be crossing. But yeah, they'd be heading to Nome. And so by the time they get there, it's about 1,150 miles. Today, the trail kind of starts officially starts in Willow, but they do a little ceremonial start in Anchorage. So that's where, right here, Anchorage, your 1,049 miles would be today. I'm actually going to stop us right there, but a couple things. I want you